So you're in Best Buy right now talking to a guy with a blue shirt asking him for advice what camera you should buy. He doesn't even work there. That's your first problem. And you're debating, oh man, everyone's shooting Sony, Canon's pretty good these days, Nikon's coming on strong, what should I do? And then you pick a system, you buy a bunch of lenses for it, and then, uh-oh, look what they just released. I have all these lenses, what happened? Today we discuss why you should never head down that path.
All I want is the perfect camera. All I want is the perfect camera.
We have a very interesting episode today. So I have 5 reasons why you should not buy native lenses. And for each reason, we're gonna switch cameras using the same lens. Stop it, although the 5th option is gonna get a little weird. I'll be honest with you. I clickbaited you to stay at the end. I didn't say that sentence right. Uh-oh. So we're starting here with the Canon C70. It'll only get worse from here on out. EF 85mm 1.2. And we'll do a little, well, for each one, for some reason. So the first reason is the obvious one. We started off with it, the Best Buy scene, where you buy into one system, you have your native lenses, and now you're stuck in the mud. Here's why that's a problem. Say you chose Canon, you're in RF glass, super heavy commitment, and then all of a sudden they announce, hey, we're not letting third-party lenses for our mount anymore, can't autofocus, sorry about that, talk to our lawyers. And you're just like pissed off, you're peeved, you're like, Canon, I'm done with you, but you have all these RF glass investments and they're not gonna sell because they're flat and bullshit. That's number 4, I think. Point is that you're stuck in one system and there could be many reasons to switch a system. Maybe Nikon comes out with some new feature, you're like, oh my God, I need that so badly. But you have all this RF glass, so you're stuck. Whereas if you would have went with EF or F mount, I should have started with this. Let's rewind for a second. Which should you choose? EF glass, Nikon F mount. You could do Leica M mount for full manual focus. In my opinion, just go with EF, Canon, they're better. Nikon has some great glass, I'm sure, the old F stuff, but they don't have the equivalents to this. There's no 85mm 1.2, there's no 50mm 1.2. What are you gonna do? Like they have a 58 1.4. It's probably great, but it's not as good as the 1.2, so like go home. There's also just way more adapters for EF than F mount. It's just, don't do it to yourself, EF. So if you chose EF mount and you have your favorite lenses, now you can just adapt them to any system. Not one system can. Maybe Sony has some struggles with that video autofocus. There used to be an adapter, the 7 Artisans, and it worked for my A7S III, and I was using my Canon lenses, and then the firmware broke it, and it never got fixed ever again. So like Sony sucks for this. But that's reason number 1, being stuck in one system, unable to move, unless you want to move to Nikon. They're the only one that can seemingly adapt even the other mirrorless mounts, not RF low. Loser. The second reason to switch out of native glass into EF only, as we went to the R5 II, things got worse, were slightly less cinematic, perhaps, but I had the option, didn't I, to switch, even though they're both RF mount. Ignore that for now. Second reason, you actually get better quality 3D popping lenses that modern stuff just refuses to do. They're all trying to resolve 300 megapixels, and it's bullshit. Everything's clinical now. There's the odd one. The Nikon Z mount has a couple vintage style lenses, and I don't know, they're a little weird to me. They're not even like that good. The 50mm 1.4 I thought was gonna be my dream lens, had like weird ton. And then I adapted this lens to the Nikon and I was like, wow, look at that, that's way better. What's the point of the Z lens? No point, you'd be stuck in it. But that's just our world. Everything newer sucks. Our world is falling apart. Nothing is normal. You go to search for information on the internet and you find mindless drones giving that information to you, reading teleprompters. I'm a human boy reading information to you. I don't have a soul because I was born in hell. I said hell weird. So there's so many legendary EF lenses out there. Like this is my favorite one, the 85 1.2. The RF version is not as good. It doesn't have the pop anymore. It's just flat. Your subject and the background pasted on a postcard that I refuse to sign. I don't care whose grandmother it's going to. That world is not one I want to be a part of. The Z lens, I tried it, the 85 1.2, sharp, clinical, flat, garbage, way more expensive and heavy. Is that number 3? We're not ready for that. So it shouldn't be the case that the older lenses are the better ones, but it is the world we live in. It depends what look you're going for. If you want like super sharp, stabby beard hairs or something, I don't care what you do. I like a pleasing look. And when I see something with 3D pop, I'm like, what a carefully planned scene. Most movies have 3D popping anamorphic lenses. That's why you love movies. So you get an image with more depth to it, better color rendition, softer skin tones, a uniqueness to the character, the ton of swirls and all kinds of fun stuff for less money. And it's more versatile. The third reason to go with older EF glass instead of picking a modern native one, as we switched to the Nikon Z6 III with some film-based bias looks of red technology. Now this may sound like an unnecessary feature of having EF glass, but you can get different looks with different camera systems, and you can change what, oh God, don't. Native autofocus performance is a myth. We have good stuff. I went too far. We know that. It was dark over here. Come on. Forgive Nikon, it's fine. I have 3 EF lenses that I absolutely love. The 24mm 1.4 Mark I, the 50mm Tony 1.2, and this 85mm 1.2. I can put each one on every system I have because the adapters are good these days. This is the Fringer. We have a speed boosted Fringer for the Fuji coming up. The EF mounts on the Canon, like those are all native. I've heard Panasonic has an adapter. I think it's the Sigma that does the EF glass like very well, just like native somewhat. But this lens looks very different on each of the systems. You have the C70 with the most dynamic range, best skin tones, and then R5 II was actually full frame and had a different look, slightly different colored, maybe some prefer it. And then Nikon's like a little bit more filmic with the red LUTs, and then Fuji, as we'll see, even more filmic with Fuji F logs. And so it's cool that you can just pick a lens and then it doesn't matter what happens. What if Fuji comes out with HD 480 frames per second? I'm like, oh my God, I need to switch to Fuji immediately. And then I can't. And I don't have to buy a bunch of new lenses. I was debating getting the 56mm 1.2, the old one, the R, not the new weather sealed one. It'd be cool to compare, but what's the point? I have the Canon, like this is better. Speed boosted to a Fuji, like why were we even doing it? It's not like the 56mm is gonna autofocus better. So having a set of EF glass that you love, or F if you had to go down that route, you're in a place where freedom is your option. You're up on a hill looking down, it's like I could take that road, okay, people are coming here, just go on the back road there. You avoid everyone, or choose. Go anywhere you want. You're free. You live in a van. That's cool. Maybe you'll get a dog someday. He's your friend. You don't have a home. So what? You don't have to pay rent. That's cool. You can go in. The world is your home. Go up any mountain. Sure, you breathe in exhaust and there's all kinds of heat problems in your bed. You're sleeping on electro EMF producing heats and your fridge is near your head and you're dying sooner, but it's fun life. We're on the Fuji. Speed boosted. We haven't tried this combo with the XH2s, only the XS20. I do believe the XH2s has a better image than the XS20. It's more dynamic range. Something about it. Autofocus was a little better too, from what I've seen, but the HD 240, they're pretty bad on both. Really bad, actually. So the fourth reason to not go native. They're cheaper sometimes. Sometimes the EF glass, like usually the older vintage stuff, is cheaper because like it's old and like most people don't look for that. They want the modern, the best autofocus, the sharpest in the corners. So like not a lot of people looking, no one cares. You can bargain, although sometimes people, I'll get a message, I'm selling something, they'll be like, yeah, no one's really looking for that. I'll give you a 200. I'm like, I already hate you. Just you started off on the wrong foot and then you're looking for it right now. So you debunked yourself, you're lying to me and yourself. So no thank you to that deal. But for the most part, these lenses are way cheaper than their newer modern cousins, their inbred cousin Hicks. Because like this 85mm1.2 you can probably find for 900 Canadian, whereas the RF version is like 3,000. Good luck finding it for less than that. It's like, holy shit. So you can build out a set of EF lenses that can go anywhere, just like the lonely van life guy who has no family, but like he's happy inside, he has freedom. So it's like, we don't have a home, but we can go anywhere. We're traveling gypsies and nomads. It's a cool thing. But for the most part, it's just noticeably cheaper to build out fantastic, better lenses that can choose any system you want. Where's the downsides? There are some. At the end, I will mention a couple downsides to this path, but for the most part, you can adapt. It's not like, don't move in your shot, but for the most part, if you're doing stuff, it'll get you. Now the fifth reason before we get to the downsides of choosing this assassin lifestyle, we have now switched to standard profile instead of f-log2c without changing any exposure things or paying attention to any zebras. I just wanted to see what would happen there. This is actually the most interesting reason. I should have let off with that because most of them were obvious reasons to choose this one. Some adapters actually have advantages and cool things to add to the performance. Like, for example, right now we're using a speed booster. So like we're having Fuji full frame look, which was impossible with native lenses. So it's like, oh my God, I can have a full frame Fuji. You could if you chose the EF path. Come on, be an assassin. Some adapters have variable NDs inside the adapter behind your lens. So like you no longer need NDs. I'm not a huge fan. Some of them don't have a closing port and then it's just dust going in that hole. That's not fun. I'll go in your mom's. I think Metabone Speed Booster now has something with like this electronic variable ND that's like auto, just like a Sony Cinema Cam. Never tried it. Don't even know how much they cost. Does they even work for any mount? I don't know, but there's a lot of advantages. It's not just like, oh, I have to adapt this and then my 85mm becomes like a 135. It's like, no, you can actually have advantages, more light. Like right now it's 20.9. That's how much light's coming into that sensor. Some adapters even let you autofocus with manual only lenses. If you went the Leica M mount, there is a Tech Art adapter that like moves it physically, although you're limited to how heavy of a lens you can use and the performance is utter trash. But like it's somewhat usable, and then you have all this like vintage Leica glass, and you're like, oh my God, and it autofocuses. So like there's advantages to going this way. Now, of course, there are some downsides to doing this. You chose a certain path and you're not gonna have the convenience store down the street. Some things go haywire quick. We're now on a tilt shifting lens, of course, and we're in ProNeg standard. Stop. Sometimes EF lenses are a bit heavier. Not, the RF 85mm1.2 is not like, oh my God, that's so much lighter. I think it might even be heavier. But like some lenses, yeah, it's cool to have some native stuff is like super light nowadays, and the modern tech, you miss out on our innovations, but clearly we're getting nowhere. But they are a bit bulky with the extra adapter, and then now your lens is a bit front heavy and it's a clunkier setup. You're not vlogging with it. It's not fun to do that. Native would be much better. And for some genres like wildlife, the telephoto lenses are not gonna sync stable. Like it's gonna be quite shaky. The autofocus is not gonna work as good. Like there's a lot of areas that this path might let you down pretty hard. But like for most like just talking head stuff, it's good enough. For a lot of stuff, street videography, like it does it just fine. But some things, it's gonna be a problem. The telephoto glass, it's heavier too. Like you wouldn't want some huge DSLR telephoto, like that's crack. And if you care about the latest and greatest tech, a lot of features just don't work. Like Sony's, oh, we shoot 90 frames per second on our lenses, not on yours. So like you're adapting EF glass, you're not getting anywhere close to that, but do you need that? You just like take one picture of a seagull and say, boom, oh, I have 300,000 shots to go through. What's the best one? And then you're asking AI to do you favors, and then what's he asking in return? Something. So yeah, it'd be nice to have a smaller, lighter native lens setup that just works better autofocus, better stabilization, but then you have to decide that is your system and we're sticking with it. And you could do that. And for sometimes you do want a native lens, in my opinion, for vlogging. And anything stabilization, anything wildlife, you go native or you go home. Not to your van home, that doesn't count as a home. I think we discovered that earlier. So who won the battle today? We started with the Canon C70, the skin tones just too complementary, not one zit being shown, except on my face, of course. And we switched over to the possibly more expensive R5 II, better tech, but something's a little off. It's a little more clinical, not as filmic, of course. But you want filmic, you switch on over to Nikon and you'll see the difference. Some red LUTs, skin tones are doing something, that's for sure. Some pink highlights, nothing wrong with that. And then we went to Fuji. Little sharp, little APS-C-like, but you're full frame Fuji. And that's cool, that's fun times. And we did switch over to standard profile, and I don't know why I did that. But now, what we've done is we're tilt shifting and we're doing native lenses. And that's fine, and I could be in focus along a whole different plane of angling. It's a good lens. Fun times, watch the review. So I'm gonna leave. Do you agree? Get the old DSLR lenses, adapt them, and then you're happy you can choose any path. I think we learned a lot today. Bitcoin is appreciated. Don't send native Bitcoin. I only want adapted. Subscribe for my minute.